first numerical, two charged spheres are given. The charge of the sphere 1, Q1, is 2 into 10 raised to minus 7 coulomb, and the charge of sphere 2 is 3 into 10 raised to minus 7 coulomb. Distance between them is given 30 centimeter. So we'll convert that into meter. So that will give you 30 into 10 raised to minus 2 meter. So two charged spheres are given, the distance between them is given, and they are asking you to calculate the force acting between these two charges. We know the formula of Coulomb's law. F is equals to K Q1 Q2 upon R square. K is equals to 1 upon 4 pi epsilon naught Q1 into Q2 upon R square. Value of epsilon naught is 8.854 into 10 raised to minus 12 coulomb square upon Newton meter square. Now all these values are given in the question. You just have to substitute the values of charges and the distance, and then you will get the answer. The answer will be 6 into 10 raised to minus 3 coulomb. So this is the electrostatic force acting between these two charges, and as these two charges are having positive polarity, means similar polarity, so the force will be repulsive in nature. In second numerical, again they have given two charged spheres. They have given the value of the charges of the sphere also. It is given in microcoulomb, so we have converted it into coulomb. Now they have given here the force acting between these two charged spheres, and we need to calculate the distance between Q1 and Q2, that is R. So we have to calculate here this distance R between both the charges. So how will we calculate? Now suppose if this force is given, you all know that this is electrostatic force which is obtained from Coulomb's law. So that is F is equals to K Q1 Q2 upon R square. So from this equation we'll make R square subject of equation. So it will give you K Q1 Q2 upon F. Now after substituting all these values, you are going to obtain R square is equals to 144 into 10 raised to minus 4 meter. Now we want R, so we'll take under root of this value, and this will give us the distance. So this is our answer. In next portion of this numerical, they are asking you to calculate the force acting on the second sphere by the first sphere. This they have given you force acting on first sphere by the second one. So now they are asking you to calculate the force acting on second sphere by the first one. So this I have written the name of the force acting on second sphere by the first one. And as we have studied Coulomb's law, it also obeys the Newton's third law. So according to this equation, if I substitute the values, this was the force F12. Suppose here I substitute this value F21 and all these values, then I'm going to get the same answer. Force acting on first sphere by second or force acting on second by first will be same, so no need of calculating. We'll just write from the question that this will be the force acting on second sphere by the first one. And these forces, both these forces will be attractive in nature, because this Q1 charge is positive and Q2 charge is negative. So as they both are having opposite polarity, so both these forces will be attractive in nature. This one also and this one also. In third numerical, they have given you this ratio, and you have to check whether this ratio is dimensionless or not. Then you have to obtain the value of this ratio, and finally you have to say that what this ratio signifies. So first we'll check whether this ratio is dimensionless or not. So for that we need to write the dimensions means units of all these quantities. So for that we'll start solving this first question. So first of all, K. So this is Coulomb's constant, so we'll obtain the unit of K. How will we obtain the unit of K? That is from the formula of Coulomb's law, that is F is equals to K Q1 Q2 upon R square. From this we'll make K subject of equation. So it will give you F R square upon Q1 Q2. So from here I can write down the unit of K as the unit of force is going to be Newton, unit of R was the distance between two charges, so the unit of distance will be meter, and as square is here, so I'll put a square over here. These were the charges, and unit of charge is Coulomb, so Coulomb into Coulomb, so it will give me Coulomb square. So this is the unit of K. Now I'll write down the unit of E. So E is actually charge, so unit of E is going to be Coulomb. Next is G. This is universal gravitational constant, so we'll obtain the unit of G. So how will we obtain? We have the formula F is equals to G m1 m2 upon R square. So from here we'll make G subject of equation, so again like this only, F R square upon m1 m2. So from this I'll write down the unit of G. So unit of force is Newton, R square will give me meter square. This m1 and m2 were masses of the object, so it will give me kg square. Now the unit of me and mp, this is mass of electron and this is mass of proton. So unit of me will be equal to unit of mp. They are masses, so the unit will be kg. Now I'll substitute all these units in our ratio. So the ratio given is this one, so I'll write down that ratio again. I'll write here only. So the ratio is ke square upon g me mp. Now I'll substitute all these units in this ratio, so it will give me, instead of k I'll be writing this unit, instead of e square, unit of e was Coulomb, here it is e square, so for unit of e square I'll be writing Coulomb square. So now unit of numerator is over. Now unit of capital G. So from here we can see the unit of capital G is Newton meter square upon kg square. So I'll substitute the unit of G over here, Newton meter square upon kg square will go in numerator. Now I'll have to write the units of mass of electron and proton. So mass of electron will be kg, mass of proton will be kg. So here I'm going to get one more kg square in denominator. Now just see, all these units will get cancelled. So what does this mean? That this ratio is dimensionless. In next portion they are asking you to obtain the value of this ratio. So what we'll do, we'll substitute the value of all these quantities in this ratio. So first of all we'll write the value of all these quantities. So again I'll write down the ratio. It is ke square upon g me mp. Now what is the value of k? This is the Coulomb's constant. It is 9 into 10 raised to 9 Newton meter square into Coulomb raised to -2. The unit of universal gravitational constant is 6.67 into 10 raised to -11 Newton meter square upon kg square. the value of E, this is electronic charge, so its value is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. Then mass of electron and mass of proton. Now substitute all these values in this equation, then you are going to get your answer as 2.287 into 10 raised to 39. Okay, so this is the solution of B portion. And now just see here, in last question they are asking you what does this ratio signify. Now if I see, this is the ratio of electrostatic force to gravitational force. See, electrostatic force divided by gravitational force. If I substitute the values of both these force, electrostatic force means Coulomb's force, the formula was electrostatic force is equals to K Q1 Q2 upon R square, divided by gravitational force. The formula for gravitational force is G m1 m2 upon square of distance between both the masses. So the distance, square of distance gets cancelled off, so we are left with K Q1 Q2 upon G m1 m2. This is also a charge and this is also a charge, so instead of that I can substitute electronic charge E over here and over here also, so it will give me E square divided by this. So you can see this is the same ratio. So this ratio is the ratio of electrostatic force to gravitational force, and from here we have obtained the value of this ratio also. So according to that, electrostatic force divided by gravitational force is equals to 2.287 into 10 raised to 39. What does this mean? See, from here what I can write, electrostatic force is equals to 2.287 into 10 raised to 39. This gravitational force will go here in multiplication. So what does this mean? Electrostatic force is 10 raised to 39 times stronger than gravitational force. In fourth numerical, it's not a numerical actually, it's a theoretical question. So in fourth question, they are asking you to explain the statement that electric charge of a body is quantized. How will you explain? We have already studied this in theory. We know that Q is equals to NE, where Q is the total charge of the body, N is the integer, and E is the fundamental electronic charge. So according to this equation, the total charge on any body will be in terms of the fundamental charge. Means if we have a body, a charged body, then it can have either 1 electron or 2 electron or 3 electron. It will be an integral multiple of fundamental charge. Like here N is going to take values 0, plus or minus 1, plus or minus 2, etc. Why it is so? Electrons cannot be broken. ऐसा तो पॉसिबल नहीं है कि कोई भी बॉडी है उस पर आधा इलेक्ट्रॉन होगा. आइदर एक पूरा इलेक्ट्रॉन होगा या तो नहीं होगा. सो इफ नो इलेक्ट्रॉन इज प्रेजेंट इन अ बॉडी, then it will be neutral, it will not have any charge. But suppose if there is any extra electron in a body, then it can be either in terms of, it will be in integral multiple of fundamental charge. Always the charge will be either 1 time of electron, 2 time of electron, 100 time of electron, or so. So the statement means that the total charge on the body will always be in integral multiple of the fundamental charge. Now in second portion, they are asking you that why we can ignore quantization at macroscopic scale. At macroscopic scale, the number of electrons present in the system will be very high. Means suppose the system will be having only if we consider chalo 1000 electrons also. So if we remove one electron or if we add one electron, so 1000 minus 1 or 1000 plus 1 does not make any sense. For example, suppose if we calculate the number of electron present in 1 microcoulomb. So from this equation, how can we calculate? This were the number of electrons, so make n subject of equation. So it will give you Q by E. Q is the total charge present on the body. So here we were having the total charge present on the body as 1 microcoulomb. So instead of this charge, I'll substitute 1 microcoulomb, that is 1 into 10 raised to minus 6 coulomb, divided by the value of fundamental charge is 1.6 into 10 raised to minus 19 coulomb. So if I solve this, it will give me this minus 19 will go in numerator. So it will give you minus 6 plus 19. So that will give plus 13. This coulomb gets cancelled. As this is a number, it will not have any unit. So 0.625 into 10 raised to plus 13. This is the number of electrons present in 1 microcoulomb charge. So just think, if in 1 microcoulomb charge 10 raised to 13 electrons are present. So when the number of electron is so big, the discrete nature of the electron is not seen. The charge will appear to be continuous. From here, if you remove one electron or if you add one electron, then it will not make any sense. So we can say that at macroscopic scale, where the number of electrons is very high, then you can ignore quantization.